So today we are going to talk about flow error handling, how we can do the error handling in flows and actions. So we will go through all these details as part of this session. Okay. So for agenda, again, as I said, why error handling? What are the advantages of error handling? Why we should do it, and how to handle these errors in actions and also in flows. Okay, and also in the end, we will see some best practices, not specific to error handling, but with respect to flows and actions. We'll see some best practices, then we'll jump into a quick demo. Okay, the question why error handling? A few points here you can see why we would choose error handling. First one is it reduces the downtime or failures as we'll be handling the errors gracefully and let the flow to run to completion or put a workaround if there is a error or exception which is found during the execution. Due to this reduced downtime or failures, in turn, we will increase the or enhance the operational efficiency, which in turn increases improves the user experience, since there will be lesser failures or downtimes, and also it gives us an opportunity to present user with human readable errors, so they can understand what's going on in the system. Then it will help us do quick debugging because we have captured all the details related to the failure using the error handling. So we can go through those um, logs or the error handling outputs and take a quick action to recover the services or the issue that has been happening. Okay, so these are some of the advantages of using error handling or the reasons for us to use the error handling. Moving on to action error handling, three main topics here. You guys, most of you might have used actions and flows, right? So I've taken an example of sample REST step action since it involves most of the features that comes with actions. So first one is retry policies. So what it does is it will automatically retry the failed requests. When a step encounters an intermittent issue such as a network failure, then we will retry until for few times based on the retry policies to to get a successful connection with the end system, right? So there are two types of retry policies. One defined at connection alias, if you are using a connection for connection and credentials for connecting to the other system. The second one is at the action level. Okay, at the action level, also we can override what's there at the connection level and use it. So I'll show you when we go to the demo. Next is response handling. Main part here is the decision that we can take as to what should be done if a step within the action flows. Should we stop the action and go to error evaluation and do the error evaluation, or should we continue with the next step and execute the entire flow? So we can take that decision. So also we can save the responses as an attachment. We just have to tell what table and what record we have to attach it to. So we can use that. Finally, for error handling, we can catch the errors that are coming as part of the step failures. If any step out of like 5, 6, or 3 steps that we have in our action, so any of these step fails, we can catch that error and perform an action related to that error using the error handling. Okay, so now coming to the flow error handling. Using the flow error handling, again, similar to action, we can catch the errors that are in the flows, and we can put some corrective measures like re-triggering the flow or some steps, or sending an email to concerned team to notify them, or logging the error so that it's easy for the concerned team to look into the issues. So in flow error handling, we have in flows, we have multiple ways to achieve this error handling. As you can see here, first one is try catch. This allows flow to keep running when there is an error occurred. So I have put a sample try catch flow here. Now you can see I'm trying to send a SMS. If there is an issue, let's say the phone number is incorrect or I couldn't send it, it failed. So if there is an exception, then I try to next send a task conversation message. If that also fails, then I try to send an email. So if this try or this try fails, the flow would still not get stuck. It would still be going on and try to send the email in the end. Okay, that is try catch logic. Then error handler, just like your like action, we have error handler in the flow. So when error occurs in the flow with an active error handler, so if the error handler is toggled to be true, then if there is an error within the flow stops running further actions, and it will just run the error handler part. So we can put up to 10 actions here, not more than that. So it would run those actions and take perform the next steps that needs to be done in case there is a error that's found. So in this case, I'm just sending an email. I've just put a sample um, error handler step here, action here. Okay. Next is go back to logic. This one, it's not specific to error handling, but can be used effectively to handle the errors. Let's say we have a if-else block inside your flow. So we can probably the if evaluates to success and else evaluates to failure. Then if there is a failure, then you can always go back and restart the actions, the steps. So in this case, you can see that we are trying to get some approvals, and if it is approved, we do something. If it is rejected, then we update the business process state, and we are trying to go back to step one and rerun the entire flow. Okay, so that's how we can use go back to for error handling. Yeah, as I said, some of the best practices. Most of you are already aware of this. Just reiterating. Please group all your similar flows, subflows, and actions together and categorize them with the name so that it's easy for you to identify them and access them. Give the descriptive names, which are mostly self-explanatory or human-readable. A layman comes in and see the name of the flow or a subflow or an action. They understand what exactly is happening as part of that flow, right? Similar to that, add descriptions and annotations to your steps or actions that you have in your flows, subflows, and actions. Then avoid overloading of single flow. Let's say you have a complex requirement that you need to build into the system, build into the system. So don't try to put everything in a single flow. Try to break that into modules or reusable chunks where you can put them as subflows and invoke that subflow as part of the flow and which can be reused. Error handling, we were just discussing about that. So please use error handling. Then minimize the lookups and loops. So out of the box, ServiceNow allows you to put 1,000 lookups and 1,000 loops, and 1,000 iterations. So don't try to increase these iterations above beyond 1,000. Try to keep it 1,000 or less. The reason is if you increase it, then the system performance will be impacted because of this increased lookups and loops iterations. Okay. Next is scripts. So if you have a very small, I know most of though flows are low code, no code solutions, we end up writing scripts at times for performing some activities. So try to write only the small modular scripts into the flow. If you have a bigger chunks of code that needs to be written, please push it to a script include and invoke a script include from your actions. Next is test rest step. So personally, it's been very useful for me. I'm not sure how many of you have used this. Instead of testing your entire flow to check if some integration is working, endpoints are working, so try to test only the rest step in the action. Within the action, you don't have to test the flow or subflow or the action in itself. You just have to test a single step to understand whether the connection is fine or the connection is going through the end system and the target system is able to receive the payload. Okay, so try to use a test step. Moving on, let's go to demo. So you can see my screen. So I've logged into my instance. So let's start with going to Workflow Studio. And we will create an action. So as I said during the presentation, I will create an action for a dummy integration, what do you say, a demo integration. So yeah, let me give it a name. So I'll say commodity demo session action. Okay, so I'll keep it same, some description. As I was saying, descriptions and annotations try to be as descriptive as possible. Accessible, I will say keep it accessible from all application scopes. Category is what I was referring to, right? So let me create a new category. I'll call it Kumari demo. Submit. And protection, I don't want it to be read-only. I want it to be accessible for everyone for editing. Again, action annotation. So action annotation comes up when you include your action on a different system, right? So I will say demo for, okay. So I will start building the action. Okay, so you can see from the screen, you have three lines here. One is for inputs, one is for error evaluation, the other one is outputs. So inputs, let me create a input here. Let's say I want to get um, the task status from a different system. So I will pass the task ID as an input and try to fetch the status of the task from a different system. So I'm keeping it as task ID. I will keep it as string for now, the ID, and I will make it mandatory. Okay. And after inputs, I'm accepting only one input. You can easily accept more than one input. I will add a step here, and I'm going to add a rest step, as I was saying. So you have two options here, define connection inline, and other one is connection alias. So I don't want to define the connection here. I want to reuse an existing alias, and you can see the list of aliases, connection alias that are available in the system. So I'm going to create a new one. Connection credential alias, new demo connection. Yes. So there is no parent alias. I'm not going to fill it. So I want it to be connection credential, not only the credential one. Connectly, I'm trying to connect via REST HTTP method. So I will keep it HTTP. I don't want to support multiple active connections. I don't need it. And default retry policy system has picked it up. So I will show you what it is, what is there in this. So it's saying for the connection type HTTP, if your integration returns the if your integration is of type HTTP type method, sorry, HTTP method get, and if you get the status code of 408 or 429, or the error says connection timeout, then retry it. Or if it's post put delete, if it says error says connection timeout, retry. So we have a retry strategy here. We have three options here. One is exponential backoff. The second one is fixed interval. The third one is honor retry after header. So exponential backoff is when you say I want it to be I want the system to try after 2 seconds, then after 4 seconds, then after 8 seconds, 16 seconds. So you want to delay the next try exponential. So that's when you use the exponential backoff. Fixed interval is I say I want to try 5 times after 10 seconds each time. And we have honor after retry. So in the response, if we get back the header with retry after, so we are going to retry. Otherwise, we are not going to retry. So I will just keep it same. I'm not going to update this out of the box one. Coming back. Next is configuration template. Uh, so for whoever, I mean, some of you who might have created the connections and credential aliases, you might have created a connection alias, then a HTTP connection, then a credential, then maybe profiles, all these things one by one. So this configuration template will help you automate that. You don't have to keep creating these records one by one. So if you define a template and if you use the template, the system will auto-generate it for you. For instance, I'm taking the basic auth demo configuration and let me create it. So here you have an option to create new connection and credential. So when I hit this, so it asks me for the connection name, URL, username, password. So this would have been your HTTP connection record creation. This would have been your credential record creation. So I'm doing both at once. So let me. So this is Bceptor. it allows you to create your dummy endpoints and use them. So I have created a dummy endpoint for get method. I will show you that during the demo. I mean, sorry, during the API calls in further. Let's say it's a demo connection, and I'll keep the URL here and password. Give the password that I have given. Okay. I'm going to create. So if you can see here, it created the connection and it created the credential. The connection has the alias, the URL, and the credential. So credential name, let me just rename it. Okay. So now I'll come back and select that alias here. So you can see here it's available. And the base URL is auto-generated. Build request. So I'm keeping it manual. I don't want to build it using the Open API specification or from REST message. I'll keep it manual since it's a GET call. I don't have to build a payload and other things. So I will keep it manual. And resource path. If we go back here, this is the role. This is the rule I have put the mock role. You can see the path is / status. So I'm going to put that here. And method is get, as I said earlier. Query parameters, there is one query parameter order ID, which accepts the task number, for instance. So I'm going to put that. So I'm going to hard code it to test for now, because for free version, they wouldn't let me, the Bceptor doesn't let you use the dynamic inputs. Okay. So I've hard coded it to test and I'm passing test from here. Okay. So I will save it, whatever progress we have done. Now I'm going to test it just to show you how it works. So here we are saying 200 and status is success and message is task found. Okay, let's see if we receive that. Can put anything. That finished. Let's take a look. I go to steps. So you can see here it returns success task found and status code is 200. Okay, and your action is success. Okay, now let's come back and move further. So retry policy, let's say I want to retry. So as soon as I enable the retry policy, I was telling you during the presentation that there are two types of retry policy. One is at the connection level, the other one is at the action level. The connection level one is this one that gets picked out of the box. So if you enable retry policy, that's the one that gets picked up. But it's not necessary that this retry policy would always work for you. So for instance, I will keep it same. Okay, and okay, let me open this. So they are seeing we are going to retry for an interval of 10 seconds 3 times if status code is 408 or 429. So I'm going to update it here and make it 408. So I'm failing this request intentionally. Now if I test it, so you can see there it's waiting. Okay, if I show you the steps, this step is currently awaiting retry. If you see here, I got 408 and the retry policy got applied and they are trying again. So they will again try after 10 seconds. I think it's 10 seconds for 3 times. Let's quickly refresh and see. Okay, I think 2 times should be done. Okay, so now you see it got completed. It was waiting, now it's completed. If I go to the step logs, you can see here, retry count was 3 times, total retry count was 3 times, and it took around 32 seconds. Okay, so that's how you can use your retry policy. Now, what if I don't want to use this out of the box one? I want a new one. So I can create one and attach it to the action. So I'll say new one. Komori demo HTTP retry policy. HTTP is fine. I will say status code is not 200. So if it's not 200, then probably write we fixed interval, try after 5 seconds and try for 2 times. Okay, I'll save it. And now if I override this policy, then I will get an option to select the demo one that I just created. And I will just show you how this one will work. I'm still giving 408, so it's not 200, so it should work. So if I test it, it finished. It's waiting again. It has not completed. So again, it's awaiting retry. So one count is done. I refresh, it should be completed. No, okay. Maybe 10 seconds are not done. So 2 times are done. Now it should be done. It got completed. So we got non-200 as a status code. So the retry policy got applied, and you can see the retry policy name. Okay, so it tried twice for 12 seconds. So that's about retry policies. Okay. Now coming to response handling, as I was saying, if you want to capture the response and put it in an attachment, you can easily do that. You have to just give the attachment file name and its extension, how you want to save it, and the table, target table, and target record where you want to add the attachment. It's as simple as that. So I don't want to do that for now. This is very vital. So it has two options here. What should happen if this rest step fails or any other action step fails? So you have this option in other types of actions as well. Should I stop the action and go to error evaluation, or should I skip the step, and skip the current step and go to the next step and continue the action execution? So this is fairly simple. It will just execute the action without any errors. But I want to show this error evaluation, so I'm going to keep it, stop the action, and go to error evaluation. Now, coming to error evaluation. So if you want to add more steps, please you can add it. So you want to query some table and update some results, or if you want to make another API call, a SOAP or REST or whatever, you can still continue to doing that in the same action. Now, error evaluation. So I will add error condition. So here, what I can define is on what status, step status, or the response body or the code do I want to treat it as an error, and what I want to do if it's an error. So I will say if there is an error in the REST API or REST step. So what I'm going to do is I will say status code is not 200. So if status code is not 200, I'm going to treat it as a error. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to say action status code, I'm going to keep it as 1 or maybe 9. Okay. And status message, I'm going to say the REST API integration failed. Okay, I'll show you where this comes up and how you can read it. But for now, it's fairly simple. If the rest step fails, I'm capturing it. I'm saying if the code is not 200, set the action status code and action status message. That's all. So you can add more than one error conditions. Okay. So I will save it. Now, I think still we have error here. Yeah, 408. So let me test it once and to show you how it works. Okay. So it's still waiting for retry policies. Let it complete. Okay, completed. So it completed, but you can see the state of the flow action is error. Okay, and state of the step is also error. and you can clearly see a message, REST API integration failed. So if you recall, that was exactly the message I gave here. Okay, so that is the message that comes up. And if I go down here, um, down here, you can see this is, yeah, this was 408, which is not 200. So we treated that as an error, and we have put the message. We should be able to see this action status code also. It comes up here, but for some reason I don't see it. But yeah, you have it here. So action status, response is code is 9, and message is REST API integration failed. Okay, so this is how you can do the error evaluation. So for instance, if there were more steps after rest step and the rest step failed, we could have stopped the execution at this step, and we have done the error evaluation, and we have put it here. Okay. Now outputs. Outputs you guys might know. You might have worked in past. So I will just create one output. I want to capture the response from API and probably put it on some task or some record. Okay. I will say status update from the target system, and I'll save it. So let me do a quick test. It's empty. Okay, my bad. I missed to set the state output. The output I'm going to say, I'm going to put the response body as is that we are getting from this bcfter domain point. Okay, I'll save it. And now if I test it, I should get the response in the output. Uh, it's still okay, it's still waiting. Okay, my bad. So the output, I have to make sure that it gives a positive response. Only then the output can be captured. I'm still putting a negative use case, testing a negative use case. Okay. Let me run the test again. The status update, the output, you can see the message is exactly what we were sending from here. Okay. So wrapping up action part. Now let's go to flow. So I will just publish this. I want to reuse this in the flow. I mean, use this in the flow. I've published it. Okay. Now I'll create a new flow. Flow, call it Mori demo session flow with the same name. Here also you have these additional properties if you want to set protection. So in my case, I'm going to keep it as a system user. So I'm going to put a schedule job that runs every day at some point of time and try to fetch the task status from this domain point. Okay, so I don't want to run it as a sister user who initiates session, because there is no user who would actually initiate it. It's a system that runs it, so I'm keeping it as system user. Flow priority, I think some of you guys might be aware of this. So whenever, let's say, parallelly, there are multiple flows that gets triggered, right? So system will queue them before it starts executing them. So there, if the flow priority is set to high, those flows will be executed from the queue quicker. Okay, then comes the medium, then comes the low. So I'll keep it medium. I have no urgency for the flow to execute since it's just a scheduled execution. Now, as I said, I will keep it. I will not keep it on record created or updated or some application like inbound email or service catalog, all these things. I will keep it as scheduled daily. So let's say it runs at 7 p.m. I was talking about annotations and descriptions and all, right? So probably this is, this is how we can add annotation. You guys might be aware. Let me just start putting it. Run daily at PM to get the class status. Yeah, done. Then to start with, let's put a lookup where I want to have the list of tasks for which I want to fetch the status. So lookup records. I'll say table is get log task. And condition, I'll say state is pending. Yeah, pending is fine. Order by, I say let's give me old to new, A to Z. Max result. So as I was telling you, the lookups and loops have the maximum results of 1000 by default. So I'll keep it 1000. So the annotation, fetch all the tasks in pending state. Done. Then after I get the task, I will traverse through each of them. So I'm putting a for loop. Okay, done. And inside that, I'm going to say, call the flow that we just created, action that we just created for that task. This demo session action. Task ID, I'm going to put the task that we pick in the for each loop and tasks number. None. Then I will say, put that output as a work note on the task, the output of this action as a work note. I will say this record, probably additional comments. I'll say response from integration is as below, and I will just put the status update. If you remember, status update is the output that I mapped, right? So I'm going to print that onto the task. So over here and put status update. Done. Okay, so let's test this quickly to make sure the flow is working fine. First of all, let's test it, run it. I hope there are not too many tasks returning. Okay, so it completed. So we had two here. Okay, two tasks, and you can see we updated the sorry, this one updated the task with the message. Okay, I can open one task for you. You can see response from integration is this. Okay, but I'm not sure if, how many of you are aware, but you can see that though I am switching this 1 to 2. Okay, now it's reflecting. I think it was just reflecting 50 before. 4949. Yeah, it's okay. It's working fine. Okay, now let's return error here. I don't want to return 200. I'll return 400. I'll say failure, task not found. Okay. Now if I test it, let's see what happens in this case. So you can see here, it's waiting. The waiting is because of your retry policy. Okay, so there is a retry policy that's happening within this. Probably I can show you here. I can see it. Okay, you can see here REST API integration failed. That was the message. And this is the output that we got, failure task not found. And if you see here, this message is not updated on the task. The reason is, as soon as the error was found, we stopped the execution. We didn't go to the update record. So this is where the error handling comes into picture for flows. So let me go back here to the flow and enable error handler. Okay, I will say whenever there is a error found, send an email. Very simple logic action I'm taking. So send it to Manjesh. And I'll say subject is error and demo integration. Hello, is known that there is an error in demo integration. Yeah, so done. Let's save it. So previously, when the error happened, the flow got stuck and nobody would even know until somebody came into the flow execution and checked, right? Now, at least we are sending an email notification or maybe some other actions. So now let me test this. When I see the output, still waiting. Let's complete. Okay, more. Okay. So you can see there is an error still, completed error caught, but the error, we don't see the error that comes from the action, right? You don't see it here because the flow error handler took care of it. So we sent an email saying that there is an error in the demo integration. Okay, so this is how error handlers can be used. Okay, so next part is, let's say I want to catch the error, but still I want to try and do some updates on the record or something. Okay, so in that case, I can use try catch. So I'm going to add a new step here, flow logic, try. So in try, you can see there are no inputs. It's just an flow logic. So I'm going to try to do this integration call and update the task. If there is an exception, then update a task with exception. I'm going to try that. Okay. So try action is, I think I did it. Kumori. It's not there. So this is the one. And I think task ID, we gave the number. I'm going to put the same thing. And then after that, I did update record. Same record I'm going to update. Additional comments. Response from integration. I'm going to put the status update. Sorry, not the 4, but yeah, 4. So, okay, so this part is done. Now in else part, if there is an error, I'm still going to update the record, same task record with the error message. Okay, I'll say additional comments. Error found in integration. And I will still put the status update, which will have the error message. Done. Now I don't want these to delete and delete. Yeah, now if you see, I've kept both try catch and error handler. Let's see what happens. Yeah, let me test it. It's still waiting. Let's wait for the retries to complete. Okay, now should be completed. This is for second task. Okay, let that also get completed. Okay, so you can see it's completed, but we have got an error, and you can clearly see that error handler didn't work. The reason the error handler didn't get executed in this case is we already caught the exception in the try catch block. So since we caught it here, system had nothing to catch as part of the error handler, so it didn't get executed. So if you're using try catch, you don't have to use error handler because it will become redundant. So in here, you can see we got the failure. The state was not 200, it was 400. And you can see now the task has the error message. Okay, so we caught the exception, we are logging the exception. But in error handler, we couldn't log it. We could send it as an email. I mean, we can log it as well. But yeah, this acts as a separate module. So whenever there is an exception that comes that is encountered in this flow, it stops the execution there, and following that, the error handler will be executed. Okay, so I will keep it off because it doesn't make sense to have both together. I will just run one positive scenario to wrap it up. Okay, let's do one thing. Save. So you see the message that we're logging here is too technical. It is a JSON message with some name value pairs and all. So let's try to keep it simple. So if you remember, I mapped the output in the I mapped this response in the output. So I'm going to change it. I'm going to script it here. I'll say return FT data step response body. So it's a JSON response. So I'm going to take this and parse it. So it's a string. I'm parsing it to a JSON. Then I'm going to return only message. Okay, so they don't need other details. This works. Okay. Publish. Now, if I test it, run test. The response. So it's completed. It was positive, so it didn't take time to retry and all. And you can see here, response from integration is task not found. I think, yeah, it was failure, but I kept the code as 200. It came as task not found. Okay, I think that's all I had.